One Punch Man chapter 129. So this was unexpected, right? I mean, most of us, including myself, was expecting us to go more into that Tatsumaki Psychos Orochi triangle fight thing going on, but this is certainly a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. All right, so first things first, let's go over the initial fight here. Pretty much just Garou dominating Darkshine. Like in the first round of their fight, it was more competitive, of course. Darkshine definitely had his moments. But Garou capitalized on him after that. And then at the end of that chapter, we saw Garou evolve again, essentially going deeper into the monstrification, gaining more power. Garou is now, at the peak of his power quite easily, but he's always kind of like progressing and going to a new peak. But this is the strongest Garou has ever been. He was like already a high dragon, but he's just gone higher up on that ladder. So how high of a dragon is he? Well, let's try to break it down because we actually have some good context and variables to go into this, aside from just us really having to guess most of the time like what we do, because we know Darkshine. We know how powerful he is for sure, because Darkshine was able to defeat Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto in the virtual genocide simulation, the audiobook written by one. But you can take that for what you will. It was a simulation after all, so it wasn't exactly meant to be taken like super literally, like that's maybe it may not happen in the reality of things, but I think it's more or less one trying to tell us like, okay, this guy's that powerful, so just, run with it, which I'm going to. So it's also said in the VGS that when Darkshine was fighting Carnage Kabuto, let me also reiterate, in Carnage mode, that is an important detail. Darkshine was pushed to his 100% full potential, like he was going full strength, like what they talk about in this chapter, 100% and all that. He was pushed to that by Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto, and Darkshine was able to defeat him after 15 minutes of fighting. So now that we know that, okay, so Darkshine's probably definitely a high dragon, because we saw Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto go against Saitama. And, if that was anybody else except Saitama, they probably would have been wrecked. And that was more or less proven, like when Snek and Metal Bat and Genos stepped into the virtual genocide simulation to go against Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto, because he defeated them all easily. He defeated Genos in I think under a minute. He defeated Snek in literally 2 seconds, and he defeated Metal Bat in 3 minutes. Also, again, just a simulation. It couldn't quantify Metal Bat's fighting spirit ability, but that just gives you a general idea of like where Darkshine is on the S-class tier level, and also just the dragon power in general. And now we're looking at Garou here, and Garou is obviously stronger than Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto, because Darkshine confirms, later on in the chapter, that Garou has definitely pushed him to 100%. Of his abilities, which is what Darkshine always wants. But now Garou has got him there, just like Carnage Mode Carnage Kabuto did. But Darkshine, as we established, was able to defeat him after 15 minutes. But in this case, Garou is absolutely dominating Darkshine. He's not landing anything. He's just swinging and missing and getting beat down. And he gets seriously wounded by like that double strike thing that Garou does to him in the solar plexus and sends him through a wall. It actually starts producing blood from him. So yes, Darkshine can definitely bleed. It's coming out of his nose and mouth, but still bleeding nonetheless. So I guess that tells us, pretty much how strong Garou is at this point. He's stronger than Carnage Kabuto, so just, put that in your mind. But then also, he's stronger than Darkshine. Maybe not physically strong, like static lifting and things like that, but just in the power scale, he is above Darkshine right now, which at this point in the manga, might make Garou the strongest current dragon. Now, that doesn't include, obviously, the above dragons, because I would have mentioned it, because I don't think Garou is at above dragon level right now. But if you're comparing him to Carnage Kabuto, who was one of the strongest dragons, and now Darkshine, who was better than Carnage Kabuto, and we've established that he's better than him, so that pushes him above the scale on Darkshine. And if we're looking at the other dragons in the series, it's like he might be at the very top, because we have the cadres, who haven't really proven that they are quite at that level yet. Maybe Goketsu could have. Elder Centipede was floating around that level too, but so far it seems like Garou's probably the strongest dragon right now. Just taking a guess. All right, so now let's come to what is probably going to be a problematic portion of this chapter, Darkshine's origin story. So yes, us webcomic readers have known about this for years now. And we've kind of just, well, I hope most of us have been, keeping this sealed tight for the, not spoiling the manga readers. But as you'll notice, that there's a lot of people in the community that that haven't read the webcomic, or just like only read the manga or only just watch the anime. They're under the full assumption that Darkshine is black, which is fine because I guess, why would you be led to believe anything else? But now that we get a look into his origin and what he looked like in his youth, it appears that he's not black. I guess he's, I don't know, what Japanese, whatever the race is considered in the One Punch Man world, just not black. And I think that kind of takes away from his character. But at the same time, I understand what's going on here, or at least I do, or at least I think I do understand what's going on here. I'm going to make a video probably tomorrow on my theory on Darkshine, explaining, what's going on with him and how he was able to become so powerful. Not enough time to talk about it in this review. It needs its own video. But anyway, I understand the core mechanic of this. But at the same time, I think that, also one is Japanese, of course. Things are different over there. It probably wouldn't be considered problematic to him. But I'm only looking at it through the Western lens, as I'm sure a lot of the viewers of this video are as well. And you might have issues with that. So the only thing I really want to point out is that there's cultural differences, and also this might be more important to the deeper narrative and the mythology of the story. So aside from all of that stuff, let me just also say that this new translation, or just new dialogue of this sequence here, specifically talking about Darkshine thoroughly dominating various sports and competitions and stuff like that, this definitely gives a better insight into Darkshine as a person rather than the original webcomic translation that we got. And I also think that the dialogue has changed a little bit. But in the original webcomic, it just says that he was just good at sports that he did. It didn't give you a real good sense of him probably being like some kind of like super athlete, famous figure in this world. Like, kind of like a Bo Jackson or something like that. Because like he did bodybuilding, obviously, and he probably did some kind of combat sport, and he just did other stuff, and he just dominated in it. And he's more of a crossover athlete into becoming a hero now. So he's kind of similar to a My Mask, as My Mask was, even though a My Mask became an idol after he became a hero, but, I'm saying like he's like a Renaissance man. Like he does many things, and being a hero is just one aspect of him. He's like a very eclectic type of, artist, athlete type of individual here. But this also explains why his will is so easy to break, because he just became a hero, and he's been so gifted with his abilities, through his training and whatnot, that he's just dominated everyone. And he's kind of had this mentality of almost like a bully, not like a malicious bully, but like someone who goes into a match expecting to win, and they usually do just because they're so much more talented than the other individual. But when they finally face adversity, they start to break down, because it's like they never could have imagined losing or even coming close to losing, and they don't really know how to react to it. So then let's come to this other cool sequence with Garou when he's just, coming to the point of straight up, if he wants to, he could kill Darkshine at this point, because, he counters his wild haymaker that he throws out of frustration, gets him on the ground with his shin, and then he goes for the quote unquote double ear strikers, and he's like lost in himself. And then he realizes, like, he snaps into it. He's like, oh, Tario was bullied. I'm here for Tario. I want to save Tario because he reminds me of like when I was a kid. And I also just hate bullying in general because I was a victim of bullying. And now it turns out that I'm straight up bullying Darkshine because the fight is already pretty much won. But then also you see that the grin on Garou's face, and you also see, of course, his two eyes are completely red at this point, opposed to them just his right eye being red originally when he was going into Monstrification. And this is also showing that this is the deepest he's gone into Monstrification so far, like we established. Not just becoming powerful, but also transforming. Like, his hair has changed. Murata said that his hair is now red and black. Like, the dark streaks that you see, those are black for some reason. It just goes into the Monstrification, and both of his eyes are red now, and he's kind of losing his humanity. But, Garou has such a strong will that he's able to just, like, catch himself in the moment and then bring his humanity back. So he's still, like, riding that line between human and monster. He's still in that in-between zone that GAROU / Psychos was talking about. So then we come to the final portion of this chapter, and it appears that Tatsumaki has created a barrier around Darkshine and is lifting him into the air, probably out of the Monster Association, but she's sending Garou to the ground with her ability, similar to like when Aizen released his Raietsu on Grimmjow. But if you're wondering what's happening here, you could probably figure it out if you read the previous chapter. Tatsumaki's dialogue in the beginning of the previous chapter will pretty much gives you insight into what her game plan is here. I'm not going to spoil anything. Those of the who have read the webcomic, we obviously know what's going to happen, but I don't want to let too much out of the bag because it's probably going to happen in the next chapter, and I'll talk about it then. But for this one, that's pretty much it. Awesome chapter. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments. If you like the review, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.